possibilities are opening up for scientific cooperation between countries.
1-0. Liftoff. Americans return to space as Discovery clears the tower.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Discovery Roger, go for deploy.
Thanks to you and to everybody in the shuttle program. The crew is go for launch.
Roger, nice to be in orbit.
We have followed in their footsteps to get us where we are today.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Bob Cabana, and I have the privilege of leading this amazing team at the Kennedy Space Center. It's a real pleasure for me to welcome you all here, to welcome the crew for Commercial Crew Program's Crew 1 mission to the International Space Station, launching next Saturday, if everything stays on schedule, in that Crew Dragon aboard the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from right here at the Kennedy Space Center, Launch Pad 39A. I tell you, it is really exciting. I can't tell you how great it is to be able to welcome a crew here to go to space again. You guys, I envy each and every one of you. It's my pleasure now. You know, I got to say, this whole effort to commercialize low Earth orbit, this is just a giant step in making that happen, and we're going to continue with that. And I want to introduce somebody who's been a real advocate for the commercialization of low Earth orbit, our Deputy Administrator, Jim Morehard. Jim?
Guys, we welcome these 4 astronauts. They are the best America and Japan have to offer. We're bringing free nations together to advance the human condition for all mankind. And we're doing so with American ingenuity and innovation. We're talking reusable rockets and reusable space capsules. And we're going to the space station that's allowed us to do research there for 20 years, as well as keep a human presence there, which we need to continue. 22 years ago, Bob Cabana commanded the first International Space Station assembly mission, where the station was activated and entered by our astronauts. So today, we have the beginning, and we have our future. And I'm so proud of all of them. Now, let me kick you some knowledge about Jim Bridenstine so I can introduce him. Honestly, he's my dear friend and my boss. Let me introduce Jim Bridenstine.
Thank you, Jim Morehard, and thank you, Bob Cabana, for always doing a great job here at the Kennedy Space Center. Welcome to our astronauts. Before we start talking about and talking to our astronauts, I want to recognize what's happened here at the Kennedy Space Center. Transformational activities that have resulted in this being a multi-user spaceport, and Colonel Bob Cabana has been leading this effort for over a decade now, and it's been amazing. And the partners that we have with SpaceX and Boeing as it relates to our commercial launches, Bob, we're so grateful for all of your service. And of course, Jim Morehard, thank you for the introduction. I will tell you, right now NASA has the highest budget it's ever had in nominal dollars. It doesn't hurt to have a deputy administrator who comes from the legislative arena, who has worked in the Senate, and who can help us accomplish these big things. So thank you to Jim Morehard as well. So today we are taking another big leap in this transformation in how we do human spaceflight. And what we're talking about here is the commercialization of space, where NASA is one customer of many customers in a very robust commercial marketplace in low Earth orbit. What we're doing is we're transitioning from a test flight to operational flights. Make no mistake, every flight is a test flight when it comes to space travel. But it's also true that we need to routinely be able to go to the International Space Station. And so we're grateful once again to our partners from SpaceX for the Falcon 9 rocket and the Crew Dragon. We're also grateful to the NASA team that has worked so hard to get our astronauts ready. And of course, we're exceptionally grateful to our astronauts themselves. It's important to note that back in 2012, when you think about the commercial launch industry, the United States of America had 0% of the global market share in commercial space launch. Because of the investments of NASA for the last 10 years, because of these investments, commercial resupply and now commercial crew, over 70% of the commercial launch market is American. This is really about launching America and doing it in a way that is competitive, where we can get the absolute best value for every dollar that the American taxpayer gives us. So this is the transformation that's happening, and we are extremely excited about it. I will say we're here today to recognize the astronauts who are, of course, in quarantine and getting ready for what will be another historic flight. I'm going to introduce the mission commander, Mike Hopkins, who is an Air Force test flight engineer by trade. He's also an aerospace engineer from the University of Illinois. In fact, he played football at the University of Illinois. And of course, got a master's degree in aerospace engineering at Stanford as well. So please welcome Mike Hopkins.
Thank you, sir. And good afternoon. Good afternoon, Florida. Good afternoon, America. It feels really good to be here. I'd like to start off by just saying thank you on behalf of the crew of Resilience. On behalf of our families, we want to say a big thank you to all of the people at SpaceX, at NASA, and in the DoD that have been working tirelessly to get us to this point. It's really been an incredible effort by an incredible group of people. For the crew, we're ready. We've spent the last couple of weeks kind of fine-tuning our training, and we've also had an opportunity to spend a little bit of time at home with our families. And we're truly honored to be a part of this transition. As the administrator said, we're starting this new era where we're going to rotate crews to the International Space Station from American soils with our commercial partners like SpaceX. And so we're very excited to be a part of that. Colonel Cabana, thank you in advance for the hospitality, and we look forward to the week ahead. Thank you. And I guess I'm supposed to introduce the next crew member. So it's my honor as well to introduce Commander Victor Glover. Victor and I have been working here together for the past couple of years now. Victor is from Cal Poly. Victor also may have happened to play football, but on the other side of the ball. But it's definitely my honor to introduce Victor. You won't find a better astronaut out there, a better father, a better husband, a better person. Victor?
Thank you for the introduction, Hopper, and thank you, gentlemen, for the kind words. And welcome to all of you. Welcome to this very special place, the Kennedy Space Center Shuttle Landing Facility. I've never had the opportunity to land a space shuttle here, but I've landed the training aircraft that we fly, and every single time I know that a few days later I'm going to come back and I'm going to fly that jet out of here. And it's really special today because we flew an airplane in here, but the plan is for us to leave on top of a rocket. So that's pretty neat. That's pretty awesome. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. You know, we have this great team. We have this great mission ahead of us, and we all look forward to getting on orbit and doing our best to make you all proud of us. So thank you for your support, and thank you for being here today. Go Falcon, go Dragon, and go Resilience. I have the honor of introducing my crewmate, Dr. Shannon Walker. And I will say that she's a great crewmate. Mike and I were at this for 2.5 years, and Shannon and Soichi were added to the crew about 6-8 months ago. And it has really been an amazing opportunity to learn from Shannon and Soichi. And her experience at NASA and her experience in the astronaut office have been very valuable to me, the rookie on the crew. And so I am greatly in debt to both of them for their experience. And so I would like to bring up Shannon Walker.
All right, thank you so much. It is so exciting to be here. Yeah, as Victor said, I've been in the astronaut office a long time. I've had one other flight. I did not launch out of Florida for that flight, and so I am just so happy to be here in Florida getting ready for this launch. The difficulty with going third in line here is everybody has already said thank you to everybody, but I'll just echo their thanks to the whole team that have gotten us here, our training team, the people building the hardware, the space station that's ready for us. It's just so exciting. So thank you everybody for coming out and seeing us off. And with that, I think I'll just hand it over to my crewmate Soichi. Soichi is somebody that I have known for a very long time. As luck would have it, on his last shuttle flight, he actually flew with my husband, and so I had all the stories about Soichi, and now I have the privilege of actually flying with Soichi this time. So I'm very grateful. Thank you, Soichi.
Thank you, Shannon. Yeah, I have to do the speech in Japanese and English, so start off with Japanese. 日本の皆さん、こんにちは。15年ぶりに、このケネディ宇宙センターに、プライムクルーとして来ることをとても嬉しく思っています。今、大変な時期ですけれども、日本で応援してくださっている大切な皆さんのためにも、このミッションをお届けしたいと思います。このミッションが日本の皆様に夢と希望と感動を分かち合えるように全集中で頑張りたいと思います。行ってきます。Thank you. I'm going to switch to English. Boy, it's such a nice feeling to be here as a prime crew. Believe me, this is the best part of astronaut life, prime crew in KSC. I'd like to thank everybody to support our training the last 8 months. It's been a tough time. It's been a long wait. But the Crew 1 is in town, and we are the only game in town this week. And we go to space with pride. Our name is Resilience. Resilience is power to recover, will to restore, and we strive to survive. Our patch has no name on it because our mission is for everyone. In fact, Crew 1 is you won. All for one, one for all. Now, let's go fly.
Okay, we're going to open it up to a few questions here in just one moment, but before we do that, we have one other person to introduce. When we think about our partners in Japan, there isn't a better partner when it comes to space exploration than the nation of Japan. And we are grateful for all of the activities, the astronauts, the capabilities that Japan has produced, really for the community of nations that has been exploring space now for decades. And I want to introduce somebody that's very important to NASA. But I want to start by saying this. When we look at the budget for the United States as it relates to space exploration, as I said before, it is higher now in nominal dollars than it's ever been. It's been on the right trajectory going up. And that's also true in another nation, Japan, who has been an amazing partner, and they've seen what we're trying to accomplish with Artemis. They're committed to it. And of course, we've seen a budget request in Japan that has increased their budget by about 50%, which is amazing. So we are so grateful to our partners at the Japanese Space Agency. And of course, I would like to introduce the Japanese Space Agency ISS Program Manager, Junichi Sakai.
Thank you for introducing me. First of all, on behalf of JAXA, I would like to express my appreciation to all engineers, ground staffs, and administrative people, especially SpaceX and the other cooperative companies for launch-related operations, and NASA. Under such COVID-19 pandemic situations, I believe Crew 1 mission opens up a new era of low Earth orbit commercializations. I'm honored to be able to witness this great event, and I'm proud that Japanese astronaut Dr. Noguchi is fulfilling his responsibility as a member of this event. Tomorrow, flight readiness review will be held, and I'm expecting that we can confirm all items of flight readiness there. So have a nice trip to the ISS, and see you 6 months later again. 頑張ってください. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, we're ready for Q&A, and remember, folks, we only have about 15 minutes with these folks. You can tell that the weather that's coming in, so we want to be very cognizant of that for your safety and everyone else's. So we'll start right here, and as soon as you ask a question, we'll step forward, and y'all keep your distance, and we'll start with Marcia. Please give your name and affiliation if you can, and also direct it to which crew member if you can do that too for efficiency. Go ahead.
Marcia Dunn, Associated Press for Commander Hopkins. When you chose the name Resilience, I know you primarily were thinking pandemic, but now your flight is coming on the heels of a drawn-out end to a very difficult campaign and election. So your name has double duty in a way. Could you talk about what message you want to send with the name of your capsule, Resilience, especially in light of current events?
Certainly. Thank you very much. You know, we spent a good afternoon talking about what name we wanted for this vehicle, and there were a lot of really good options. But I guess I'll kind of equate it to when my wife and I named our second son, and we had a couple of names picked out, and we didn't know until he was born what his name would be. And when he came out, it was like, this is Lucas. And so it was the same thing for us as we were going through these names, and we had them all written out on a whiteboard and did all kinds of voting and this and that, but at the end, it just felt right. And it felt right because, as you mentioned, this has been a tough year. It's been a tough year for everybody for a lot of different reasons. And we felt like if the name of our vehicle could give a little hope, a little inspiration, put a smile on people's face, then that is definitely what we wanted to do, and we felt like Resilience was the name that did that. And so it's not something just for us as a crew, but we thought that it also would resonate with everybody, not only in that follows space, but everybody in the country, everybody around the world. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Irene Klotz with Aviation Week. This question I think is maybe for Suichi, since you've gone through now training on 3 different vehicles to get to the ISS. What do you think's been like some of the most different, maybe the most different aspects of now being part of this SpaceX commercial crew era compared to what you've done on for Soyuz and for Shuttle?
Thank you very much for questions. And yeah, I was very fortunate enough to experience Space Shuttle like Colonel Cabana, and Soyuz like Hopper and Shannon. And this is the great experience. Actually, believe me, the SpaceX has been a great partner. I was really surprised, pleasantly surprised with the way they handle the training and the preparation for the flight. So I have a full confidence continue with the rest of the mission. And our crew is obviously a very nice crew. The Hopper is a great leader, and Ike knows very good, have a good experience with his test flight background. And Shannon, we spent a long time. We are the Columbia survivor. So all 4 of us have a great history on the space flight, and our crew is really ready to go. Thank you.
Sam Suzuki with NHK for Mr. Noguchi, please. I'll be asking the question in Japanese. コマーシャルクループログラムの、本格的な運用第1号ですが、日本人がクルーの一人に選ばれる意味についてどうお考えでしょうか?
Okay, since it's a Japanese question, I'm gonna reply in Japanese. 今回の、コマーシャルクルー、民間宇宙船での飛行の運用第1号機に、JAXA から宇宙飛行士を、出せたというのはすごく大きな意味があると思います。これからの、有人宇宙飛行を支えていく大きなキープレイヤーとして、コマーシャルフライト、ボーイング、スペース X、その他の新しい会社がどんどん出てくると思いますので、その新しい息吹を日本の皆さんにもお伝えしたいと思います。ありがとうございました。
Hello, Stephen Clark from Spaceflight Now. My question is for Shannon Walker. Since you've launched from Baikonur before, I just wanted to get your thoughts on the differences, maybe different feelings, different emotions, coming down to the Space Coast to launch from American soil compared to your experience launching from Baikonur. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. You know, it's really interesting because I've been involved in the International Space Station program for so many years and have had the privilege of training and working with our partners in all the countries that are part of the partnership. And while there may be some subtle differences, basically underneath it all, it's all about the same. And so going to Baikonur, yep, you're going to a desert somewhere. They've got their traditions on launch preparations, and coming here to Florida, in a lot of ways, it's very familiar. It's the same. We do things a little bit different. It's certainly different countryside, but and it's in English, which is a nice bonus for me. But really, the preparation leading up to launch is the same. It's the same excitement. It's the same focus. It's the same dedication by the teams getting you ready to go. So I would say there's more similarities than there are differences.
Hi, Emery Kelly with Florida Today. Perhaps this is for Commander Hopkins or Mr. Bridenstine. I'm wondering, compared to 2 crew versus 4, how the quarantine procedures are different with double the crew members, and basically how that's been going so far for you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. In terms of quarantine, I don't think it's really been that much different. Certainly with the pandemic, it's changed things a little bit. We really went into a quarantine status at about the 3-week point versus maybe in the past we would have done it at 2 weeks. But in general, for the 4 of us, it's, you know, like I said, we've had an opportunity to spend a little time with our families. Our families went into quarantine as well with us, which I also think has been maybe a little bit different than in the past. But overall, it's worked out pretty well. And I will say, I'll take this opportunity to just thank from NASA and the SpaceX part. You know, we've been doing our training now. In fact, Shannon and Soichi have been with us. Basically, they came on board about the time the pandemic started. And so the training flow that we've done over the past 6, 7, 8 months has been in that environment. And I can't say enough about what NASA and what SpaceX has done to keep us safe, to keep our families safe throughout the whole training process. So it hasn't really just been the last 3 weeks. I really got to say it's been the last 8 months. It's been pretty incredible to see. Thanks.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Space Coast. Greg Pallone with Spectrum News 13. This actually is for Victor, if you don't mind, sir. First space flight. I mean, historic flight. You got a twofer. You got a great crew. I know you're excited. Your thoughts?
Well, Greg, thanks for the question. It's hard to put it into words, really. I mean, you know, the thought of flying in here and rocketing out, it's just surreal. It really is. It's hard to put it into words. I'm excited just to go to space. If we were on the step of Baikonur going on a Soyuz, I'd be excited. To go live on the space station for 6 months, I'd be excited. And so to be a part of this crew, we have an amazing group here. It's been a blast to train with them, in quarantine or not. And we have an amazing spacecraft. We're going to join an amazing team with Kate, Sergey, and Sergey that are already up there. All around, it's just truly amazing. It's hard to put into words. So I'm really grateful to be here.
Marcia Dunn, AP again. I'm just wondering, this upcoming week, how much attention are you going to be paying to storms, weather, and do you have any new traditions you might be starting this week for this new era? Thank you.
Yeah, from the weather standpoint, yes, we're going to be following it very closely. I think we've already started several days ago, actually, getting the weather briefs on what we thought it's going to look like next weekend. Clearly, that's potentially going to have an impact. I think we've moved the static fire from tomorrow to the next day because of the weather conditions. So we'll adapt, we'll adjust, and we'll be ready to go when the weather is ready as well. As far as traditions, you know, Shannon mentioned it. When you launch with the Soyuz, there are a lot of traditions that they've been doing for a lot of years, going all the way back to when Yuri Gagarin first launched. we did have an opportunity this morning to start a new tradition for us. We actually took it a little bit from the Russian side, and we had a departure breakfast with all of our family and the folks that have been in quarantine that are going to be with us. And that was really the first time that we've had a chance as a family and the leadership and the support folks to come together and be together. In fact, it might be the only chance we have, because once we get into this week, we're all going to be going in a lot of different directions. And so that was a nice opportunity just to say hi and thank you and see each other one last time before we rocket out of here. Thanks.
Okay, we got time for two more questions.
Hi, Stephen Clark, Spaceflight Now again for Commander Hopkins. I think you're going to be sworn into the Space Force while you're on the space station, and I wanted to get your thoughts on the significance of being the first Space Force astronaut, and also just some background on how the process went. Did you request to be transferred to the Space Force, or did that come down from the top? Thank you.
No, so I'll start with that one. It definitely was a request. You know, we've had a long relationship. NASA has had a long relationship with the DoD, and so this is just going to be a continuation of that relationship as we've added a new service, a new military service to the ranks, and so. As I've had an opportunity to work with what was Air Force Space Command that transitioned into now the Space Force, and so I was already working with and talking with the folks in that group, and so when the Space Force stood up, it was a natural question to ask what are the opportunities to come over. I feel very honored to have that opportunity to do the transition while I am up on orbit. But again, I think that just recognizes this strong relationship that we have with NASA and the military, and I think it's a pretty special one. Thank you.
One last question.
Sam Suzuki for NHK for Mr. Noguchi again. And again in Japanese, please. 新たな民間宇宙船で ISS への旅、ほとんど自動化されていますが、不安はないですか?
Thank you. Again, I'm going to reply in Japanese. SpaceX の宇宙船のミッション、非常に自動化が進んでいて、これまでのスペースシャトルと、ソユーズと違った運用になってますけれども、かなり、システムに関してもしっかりと訓練を積んできてますので、不安はないです。今週の打ち上げに向けて、クルーしっかりと、準備が進んでいると思います。ありがとうございました。
Okay, thanks everybody. We're going to do a little photo op with them before they get away, but let me hand it back over to Colonel Cabana.
Thank you all so much for coming today to welcome the crew to Florida for this launch. It is an historic day, and it's great to have you guys here. I'd also like to thank our administrator, Jim Bridenstine, for his outstanding leadership and passion for America's space program that got us to this point today. I want to remind everybody that tomorrow at 1:15 on NASA TV, there will be a live media event from crew quarters with the crew, so please tune in to that. And finally, I'll just say, go Falcon, go Dragon, go Perseverance, and Godspeed to you guys. Thank you all.
Behind or in front? Come right in front on each side, actually. We can get Suichi and Shannon on this side.
Okay, Mike's name.
And then Mike over here.
Yep. All right. Want to do one? Outside. Yeah, all right. Switch sides.
Yeah. Can we move them over here to the launch and Bud and your team over here will fly behind them? So breathe on it. Make this work.